A new Grammy category was supposed to celebrate Asian pop music. Instead, it has opened a difficult question about recognition, identity, and who gets to compete on the biggest stage. In June, the Recording Academy announced a new award called Best Asian Pop Music Performance for the 2027 Grammys. The category includes music such as K-pop, J-pop, and C-pop, and eligible songs must make meaningful use of at least one Asian language. The Academy says the award reflects the scale, artistry, and global influence of Asian pop. On the surface, that sounds like progress. More artists can be nominated, more languages can be heard, and a major American institution is recognizing music that has often been overlooked. But the announcement did not receive a simple celebration. It created a debate, and BTS soon became the center of it. In late July, all 7 members announced that they would not submit their music for the 2027 Grammy Awards. Their message was brief but clear. They said they hoped their music could be heard and loved for what it is, rather than being divided by region or language. That decision matters because BTS has had a long and complicated relationship with the Grammys. The group has received 5 nominations, performed on the Grammy stage, and helped bring a huge global audience to the ceremony. But BTS has never won a Grammy. For many fans, the new category therefore feels less like a new door and more like a separate lane. That phrase is important. A separate lane can create opportunity, but it can also quietly limit where someone is expected to go. There is a reasonable argument in favor of the category. Award shows already organize music into genres and traditions. The Grammys have categories for Latin music, African music, country, jazz, classical music, and many other fields. A dedicated Asian Pop Award could help voters discover excellent work that might otherwise receive little attention. It could also make room for artists who are successful across Asia but do not yet have the international profile of BTS or Blackpink. Recognition does not have to be a bad thing simply because it is specific. The concern begins when a specific category becomes a ceiling. If an Asian artist makes one of the year's strongest pop songs, should that artist mainly be considered for Asian pop? Or should that song compete equally in Best Pop Duo or Group Performance, Record of the Year, and Song of the Year? The official rules say Asian pop recordings may still be eligible in other appropriate categories. Songs performed entirely in English are not eligible for the new Asian Pop Award and remain eligible elsewhere. So, on paper, the new award does not close the main categories. But rules on paper and habits in practice are not always the same. Voters may begin to think that Korean language or Japanese language pop already has its own place. That could make it easier to overlook those songs in the general pop field. This is why the debate is not really about whether Asian pop deserves an award. Of course, it deserves recognition. The deeper question is whether the industry sees Asian pop as part of global pop or as a regional product that should remain in a regional box. There is also a practical problem with the label Asian pop. Asia is not one musical culture. K-pop, J-pop, Mandopop, Indian pop, Filipino pop, and music from many other markets have different languages, industries, histories, and sounds. Putting them into one category may create visibility, but it may also flatten those differences. The Recording Academy says musical style, not an artist's ethnicity or nationality, will determine eligibility. That is an important protection. Still, the category will need clear and consistent decisions if it wants to earn trust. Our view is that the new award should not be dismissed before it begins. It could introduce listeners to more Asian artists and reward music that the Grammys previously missed. But a category created to increase recognition must not become a convenient place to contain that recognition. The real test will be what happens outside the new category. Will Asian language songs still receive serious consideration in the major awards? Will voters judge them as pop music first, rather than as foreign music? And will less famous Asian artists benefit, or will the category simply collect a few familiar names each year? BTS's decision can be understood as pressure on the institution to answer those questions. It is not necessary to describe the decision as a political fight. Artists often choose whether or not to participate in award campaigns. In this case, BTS is using that choice to make a point about how they want their work to be understood. The Academy may have created the category with good intentions. BTS can still believe that the result draws the wrong boundary. Both ideas can be true at the same time. That is what makes this controversy worth discussing. It is not simply a story about one group refusing one award show. It is a test of what global music really means. If a song travels across borders, connects with millions of listeners, and becomes part of mainstream culture, should its language decide which room it belongs in? A dedicated category can be a bridge. It becomes a problem only when the bridge leads to a smaller stage. Over the next year, nominations will tell us more than announcements. The most convincing answer will not come from a press statement. It will come from whether Asian artists can win recognition in their own category and still compete everywhere else. That's all for today's episode. The real question is not whether Asian pop deserves recognition, but whether it can be recognized without being boxed in. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Subscribe for new episodes, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one.